talk, so I'll wait until you're done with your chopstick obsession. Just kidding. Hey everybody, we decided to do a little bit of a fun collaboration because you guys have told us so many times that we should reach out to Notes to Self, and so here we are.
Here you go.
We've got Melanie and Cory here from Notes to Self, and we're gonna have some fun little back and forth discussion, some questions to them. So I hope you guys are all excited for this little introduction and funness.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You guys want to do a little mini intro for both of yourselves?
Yeah. So my name's Melanie. I was born and raised in the AUB. I was raised with 4 mothers, 34 brothers and sisters, and my dad is the current prophet of the AUB.
And I'm Cory. My dad had 9 wives, 39 kids, grew up in the same house up in a compound in Pinesdale, Montana. And my dad has never been a prophet of anything. So
nope.
Probably makes it a little bit easier.
No.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a lot, guys. Well, we did just get done with the discussion that is going to be posted on their YouTube channel, so please go check it out. But during that discussion, I had a ton of questions I wanted to bring up, but I didn't want to take over. So, your dad being the prophet, that means like he's the guy. He like basically makes the rules, or God tells him. I'm sorry, quotation marks. God tells him, and he sets the rules, right? So, since now that you're speaking out, you have left. Do you interpret that he has the power to bring you back into fold and guarantee you your path to heaven?
No, I don't subscribe to that at all. He thinks he does, and he wants me to come back. He's begged us to come back many times, but no, I left the AUB when I was 22 for the first time. And then I thought God was punishing me. I had a sick baby, and I went back for 2 years, and then I left for good when I was 26.
That's brutal.
Well, that's hard that you were raised in the way that you thought because your baby was sick, it was your fault for leaving. Yeah. It wasn't just things happen, life happens, kids get sick. That's hard.
It's always God did this, or because God had a plan or a reason.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
The previous PSR or prophet, Syrian Revelator, excommunicated me, so I took his word for it that I shouldn't be back in the group. So,
dang.
Can we ask what the reasons were that he decided to excommunicate you, Cory?
Yeah, we hear there's nefarious revelations is
you know. That was why his dad got kicked out.
Yeah. Based on their reasoning for excommunicating me was for adultery, even though I had never been married or anybody that I had ever been with had been married. But based on their dogma of their religious dogma, they had to the only way they could excommunicate me is if it was a grievous enough sin. So they put down excommunication well before I ever, or adultery well before I ever got legally or spiritual married, which I've never been spiritually married. So
yeah. And the girl that she was not married either, but she did go get married within 6 months after that.
And it's because of council member. This is why I try to stay away from council member daughters. And of course I married one. So.
Worked Ken first. Sorry guys, our daughter came downstairs, so Tony's just
you're good.
Resetting her. That was the pink hand that you guys saw over here. That was it waving.
Oh, that's cute. No, and we can always pause if you need to pause, whatever you guys need to do.
Or just
edit it. He's fine. Okay, so kind of a follow-up to that then. Melanie, when you met Cory, was it you were like, wow, he got excommunicated, I probably shouldn't talk to him? Or was it like, wow, he got excommunicated, I should probably talk to him? Was it anything that kind of hesitated you from being with him or talking to him or anything like that?
No, I was still married when I met him. So he actually dated my ex-husband's little sister for a while, but I didn't pay him attention because I was in a forever eternity marriage, right? So I wasn't paying attention to him. And then he came down to Lake Powell on our houseboat with us. And this was the first time that I had left the AUB. But I was married and I had babies. I wasn't interested. I wasn't looking. Right. And so then I just thought he was so cute and so adorable. So then I was like, oh, he should date one of my sisters or somebody that I know because he's so cute. And then I left the AUB the second time and we had remained friends that entire time. And I left the AUB the second time and my ex-husband was I got a divorce because he liked prostitutes. I didn't. Somehow our relationship just didn't work in that dynamic. So I left. And then I called Cory and I was like, hey, you want to go out? And he was like, you're married. I can't go out with you. And I'm like, not anymore. You want to go out? So, but I didn't have a spiritual release yet. And he didn't know that. So I had to go in and get a spiritual release because in order for him to, so we dated for like a month. And then you found out I didn't have a spiritual release.
Yeah, there you go.
And then he was like, oh, I can't date you anymore until you get that because your dad won't ever approve of our relationship. So,
Well, yeah. And then yet we were, to date and to get married, she had to be unmarried, and she'd only been married through the polygamous
AUB.
church.
I didn't legally get married. I only got married through the AUB. So then I went in and got a spiritual release, and then we continued our dating.
Well, and her best friend was married to my brother, so she was my sister-in-law. And they invited us down to Lake Pell. And so I was just going down there to hang out with my brothers because a couple of us brothers had went down there and hung out. So, and
that's where everybody in the AUB decides to go on vacation is Lake Powell, houseboat in Lake Powell.
Yeah,
I know. Well, because it's the greatest.
It.
It's the greatest place on the planet. I swear, I love that place so much. But
then she tried to hook me up with all of these polygamous girls, and I'm like,
I'm not dating
I'm not dating anybody. I've been excommunicated. I'm dating outside of the polygamist world. So, and
I was a big enough deal. I convinced him to come back.
Not to the AUB, but to date.
We had to have some serious conversations though when we first started dating that you will never live polygamy, right? And so we had to have some like real hard, serious conversations when that first happened. Because we both knew that we never wanted to go back into polygamy. So
it was both of you that were hardcore against polygamy. It wasn't like half and half.
Well, he didn't have a choice. So he was kicked out. He didn't have a choice. It wasn't until we got married and then my dad was like, you guys can come back. Cory hasn't done anything that he couldn't come back and be rebaptized for. And so then so we've been together almost 26 years now, and my dad's begged us throughout that whole entire 26 years to come back.
Dang. So neither of you have been put into the outer darkness category.
No, we haven't done. Have we done stuff? Well, we both actually joined the Mormon church. So we were both very active Mormon for the first 7 years of our marriage.
Oh, plot twist.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we left the Mormon church completely too. And now we don't subscribe to any religion now.
Wait, this is even better. Okay. So since I assumed you were endowed when you were in Mormonism.
Mm-hmm.
So what are would you like to, or can you share any of the differences between the two endowments?
Oh, we actually never went through the Mormon temple. We were a month away from doing that when we left. And so we never actually went. So we were married in a Mormon church by a Mormon bishop, but we never went through the actual temple because just the way that I had because I was married in a cult, technically, I had to be a member of the Mormon church for a year before I could go through the temple. Mm-hmm. And so, and then Cory and I got married like a month after I was baptized into the Mormon church. So then we just did all the temple preparation classes, did all of that, but then we just never actually went through the temple. We decided to hold off for a while. And then we just decided we didn't want to be a part of any organized religion.
Yeah, I've never been through any of the endowments.
Yeah, he's never been through.
Whether it be the AUB or the Mormon church. So
yeah,
really?
Yeah, I'm the only one that's went through the AUB endowments.
And how do you feel about talking about that stuff? Like,
I can talk about it. Yeah.
So you don't ever still have like those weird feelings like, oh, I shouldn't talk about the secret keys, secret words, the handshakes, the symbols?
Well, we were married and we ended up getting divorced, and I didn't even talk to Cory a lot about a lot of that in our first marriage because I felt so uncomfortable about it. I wasn't sure. Like I was still playing a lot of that mind. I mean, here I left the AUB and then went back because I thought I was getting punished by God. So I was deconstructing for a lot of years. And then our second marriage, we've talked openly about all of it. And there's nothing that we don't talk about now. Oh, But
Maybe we should get
realized
divorced.
how,
I don't know any of your handshakes or any of the secret words. You haven't told me any of that yet.
Maybe better said is that maybe I realized that I might still be deconstructing a little bit because I still felt weird talking about, like, I wouldn't like willingly show the handshakes on our Patreon when I was talking about it. There's still like a part of me like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like
yeah.
I don't want to give out the keys here online. That's even though there's no belief that there any
Yeah.
significance there, it's just still kind of like strange. So I didn't know if you felt like that as well, because
Sometimes
like
I have. Most of the time, my thought process on it now is just at the time I took it seriously. I truly believed it. And it was a covenant and a promise I made with God. And so, I try to respect that process of it because it was something that was a promise between me and God. And I still have family members that are firm believers in both the Mormon church and the AUB. And so I just try to be as respectful about their beliefs as possible and so I try to not be as disrespectful about the process. Like we joke about nefarious revelations and stuff like that, but there's a lot of like deep doctrinal stuff that we try to tread lightly out of respect. So,
Well, and I studied it, so I know all the handshakes. I've never been through it, but I know it, so I could sneak into heaven at the end if I need to.
and save
there we
money.
go. There you go.
I learned everything before. I never went through the process, but part of my upbringing was to learn what they all meant and how we were going to get into heaven and stuff like that.
Right.
So
So a lot of what you learn when you're growing up, men get to learn, but women don't. Like
Mhm.
men who go through getting the priesthood and go through like the mentorship of your dad's trying to teach you how to be a man. Women don't get any of that until we get to girls' class. And in girls' class, they start slowly telling us how to be a proper woman and a proper wife in the household. But even there, you don't really get told of the duties outside of church until you go through the endowment ceremony as well. So a lot of like those secret stuff I've still never asked my mom about. And I think it's because like I don't want her to have to break, like you said, covenant with God, because at the end of the day, regardless if you believe the religion or not, it's still it is still a belief and it's still a promise that you're making to God, whether or not you believe in it or all of that. It's still like it's almost, I don't know, I still think of it as kind of sacred in some sense of the
Right.
word.
Right.
So
And
I get that.
I just respect the process of what I went through. And I was very devout, very devout. I never went outside of the house without my garments on. I was so straight laced. But I didn't know anything. Like you said, I knew nothing until I went through the endowment house 8 days into 17. And I was like, what did I just do? It blew my mind. So, but I had intimate relations in my garments. I birthed my babies in my garments. Like I took them extremely seriously.
What?
Did you swim?
That's
Did you go
extreme.
swimming in your garments?
Yeah. You what?
Go swimming in your garments too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sometimes no. If I went to a public pool, I would go to the locker room, change in the locker room, go swimming, and then go put my garments back on after the pool, and then go home and then shower. But so no, not all the time in the pool did I.
I remember it
I
took
was
a while
very,
for my parents to take off their garments when they went swimming. Like it wasn't an immediate thing. They would wear garments for swimming too for the first while.
yeah. Yeah, I did too for the longest time. And so when I first met Cory, he came down to Lake Powell. I had already left the polygamous group at that time, but then I went back. And so I went and bought a long set of wetsuit so that I could wear my garments while I was at Lake Powell in 110 degree weather. But that's how I wore them very faithfully. I was very devout when I wore them. So yeah. I took the religion pretty seriously, but I was like the token child that was going to do that.
10 cows and everything.
Yeah. Yep. I was a 10 cow wife and everything. So
Dang.
And I
Hey,
had
Cory.
way too many questions for my parents. So we didn't get to watch TV like growing up, but so I read a lot and they had a lot of scriptural books around. So I read through a lot of their books and I had tons of questions about the endowment, why they were doing what they were doing. My dad would try to, it's something you'll figure out later on, but he never really had an answer for me. So I just kept studying and then I had way too many questions and I was the rebellious child because I asked why a lot. it didn't make sense based on this scripture. It says that you're not supposed to, the Gadianton robbers were supposed to be the ones with secret tokens and handshakes. Why are we as Mormons doing the same thing, or polygamists? And he didn't like that. He didn't have a answer for it. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be a Gadianton robber then to my dad. And so, yeah, so I was a rebellious child, kind of growing up with way too many questions. So, but
Do
I
you think that's
studied
the real reason you
everything
got
I had.
excommunicated?
Hmm?
Sorry. Do you think that's the real reason you got excommunicated, because you asked questions?
No, it's because I was living polygamy without going through the
He was just
scriptural
dating.
thing.
He was a
I was
polygamous dater.
I had dated within the polygamous group, but then I was dating. At 18, then I moved down here. I moved back up to Hamilton, the Hamilton area, and I dated everybody outside of the group. And so, and I had pretty much thought I was going to hell because I was being told I was rebellious. So why not do all the stuff? So
Dang,
That's
Cory
hard.
was a
That's sad.
player. He
I
had
was a rebel.
ways.
He wasn't for a long time until he did get kicked
Yeah.
out. But they had their family had a lot of boys. They're very, very sweet, loving boys. They're just good. They're just a good family, and that threatened a lot of the people up there. And this is my opinion of why, is because there was just too many boys and they were a threat, and so they kicked these boys out
Yeah.
because
most of us boys were encouraged to date out down in the valley
and bring girls back
bring
into the
girls
AUB.
back, and we didn't.
Because
Yeah.
there wasn't
We didn't
enough
do that very
women.
well.
You
Yeah.
want to live polygamy, you want to get to the kingdom of heaven.
Mhm.
You gotta
Yeah.
live, you gotta have multiple wives. So
Yep.
go get another wife.
Yep.
Did that ever bug you guys? Because in this interpretation of heaven, the ratio of women to men is ridiculous. There's way more women in heaven than there is men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been a bother for me because I feel like, but I mean, how my dad would explain it is just because women are so much prettier to look at than men. So of course God made more women than he made men.
Yeah.
And Cory's like, that's not really the reason, but that's what I used to be told when I was little. It's like, nobody wants to look at a bunch of ugly men. They want to look at these beautiful women. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I bought into that idea for a while.
That's
Most men are rebellious, is what my dad would say, and couldn't live it. And so there's going to be very few men that make it up there. But
And unfortunately, I don't want to sound sexist when I say this, but I'm going to, right? And then I know he's like, you're the most sexist person I know. I do have a lot of hard issues towards women because, but I feel like, especially in the culture that I was raised in, women are a lot more dupable. And so that is one of the frustrating things is women are a lot more easily controlled than the men are. And when you get a group of boys, like some of Cory's brothers, that aren't as controllable, you kick them out and you get rid of them. And you keep the girls who are controllable.
well, we were encouraged to go out and search for wives outside
And bring
of
them back into the
and
group.
bring them back. You weren't. My sisters were encouraged to date within the AUB group. So
Most of his sisters did marry. A lot of his sisters did marry inside the AUB group.
a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
dang. So Cory, how did you feel about the priesthood power and the priesthood line of authority that was going on?
I got it taken away. I don't even have any of that anymore. But yeah, it was just a teaching that my dad brought up. It was so that you could do your lineage back. I have a lot of judgment. I mean,
We're trying to be
I
respectful
don't
of
know.
our family still, but at the same time be like,
a lot of times now, I read a lot of books growing up. A lot of it was religious teachings, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all of these ones. They're all very similar. Everybody can get the power. And so my belief system of it is we're all born with a certain power. Men, women, we're all born with power. And you don't have to have somebody give you a magic feather or put on some magic pajamas or lay their hands on your head we're all born perfect. So yeah, I do scoff and make fun of the priesthood when they feel like that his priesthood power should be able to control how I think or what I should be doing. He's getting revelation from God for me. No, thank you. I'll figure that out on my own. You get your own revelation. And so, yeah, I scoff a lot about the religious dogmas that I grew up with. I make fun of them. My family, some of my family enjoys my comedy. Others, my mother's not so pleased with how I make fun of the priesthood powers to be, because they're just men. So
It's just a way that one, in my opinion, it's just a way that one man wields power over.
tries to control a group of people. So
Like that
So,
goes
yeah.
back to organized religion. Like one of the bases of it is so that one man has control and power over others.
Right. Right. So-
Fair enough. Fair
and
enough.
the ones that they keep picking to speak to God, I mean,
Hey, wait, well, we're about to talk about my dad here, yo.
they need to
Tell us more.
probably do a little bit more of the interview process when you're trying to get somebody on the council to speak to God. So just
What
my
do you guys-
opinion. I have family and brothers and that still appreciate who the prophet is, but
Yeah.
to me, he's just a man. So,
Yeah.
my
That's a good
father-in-law.
perspective.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's
Go
a good
ahead,
perspective,
sorry.
though. To know you're great. It's just a good perspective to have, because at the end of the day, they are all just human and they're just trying to figure it out. So I think that's a good perspective. I will ask, like, what do you guys think was like probably the best part about growing up in polygamy, and what do you think was the worst part about growing up in polygamy?
For me, I think the best part is that my siblings, because I felt like I always just had best friends. I felt like, I'm my mother's oldest. I'm not my father's oldest, but I'm my mother's oldest. And I had brothers, big brothers from other mothers that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And they were just, I loved it. I loved, and right now, like, we're both our mother's oldest. And so our home is the family home that everyone comes to. And like, we'll have 50 people here on a Friday, and that's just a regular Friday. And so we love that. That's my favorite part of it. The worst part, I think, is a lot of the unfairness, the way the mothers treated other children. I felt very unfairly treated. I felt very abused by a lot of my other moms. And I didn't feel like I always had a say in that. I couldn't speak up for myself, because if I did, then I was severely disciplined, because you respect my wife. And it doesn't matter what she says or what she does or how she treats me. The first time I called my dad's wife the B word, I thought I 100%, I was almost 16 and a half. I really, truly thought my dad was going to kill me. And so I was genuinely afraid for my life, but she was unfairly beating one of my little sisters, and she didn't spank her little kid. They did the exact same thing. And I said to her, and she goes, well, your mom spanks her kids. I don't spank my kids. So I'm going to spank your mom's kids and not spank my kid. And I was like, you B word. And I literally thought my dad was going to come across the room. And so that was probably the unfairity between the mothers towards the children. That was my definite my number one complaint. I still get frustrated about it when I see it.
Mine would probably, again, my siblings. I did have mothers that I've built a good relationship over time. Not necessarily when I was a small kid, but as a young adult, teenager and young adult, I have had some really good relationships with some of my mothers. The worst part of it for me is I didn't feel like it was a healthy environment to raise kids. I never saw as a kid a good, healthy relationship between a man and a woman. I never saw that. I didn't like the way, I love my dad to pieces, but I didn't like the way he treated my mothers. So I didn't think it was loving. I didn't think it was kind. And I didn't want to get a wife where it didn't look happy to me. It wasn't a happy situation. And so I didn't want to get a wife where I treated her poorly, like I watched some of my other mothers get treated poorly over one mother. So
Yeah.
That's terrible.
yeah.
That's hard. I remember like similar situations, like watching my moms get mistreated, but also like watching different moms discipline other kids. And I'm like, well, this is actually giving me like throwbacks, which what you guys were talking about. Because there were several moments growing up that I saw how Mary would discipline one of the kids, or I'd see how Janelle would get treated by my dad, or things like that, that I'm like, whoa, it wasn't just my family. It's just a polygamy thing. That's what it is. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
definitely
I
some of
think
the
it
hard
really
parts.
truly is the polygamy thing. And that's why when we do watch the show, we can relate so much to our own lives in the different scenarios. So I feel like if we do watch the show and we do make a video on it, we try to relate it back to our own situations and what we were going through in that situation.
So I had an older brother that was married. I saw a healthy relationship. I had grandparents that were my mother's parents that were in a healthy relationship. So I saw what that looked like from a distance, but what I saw within our family was not that healthy relationship. It was sad, actually. So
Yeah.
Because of that, was there a point in your childhood growing up where you knew before you were excommunicated that you didn't want to live polygamy at all? Was there any of that?
14. Yeah. I had so many questions and I butted heads with Dad, and I just told him I wasn't going to live polygamy. I was going to love one woman. So,
And you do it so well. Thank you.
so yeah. So, and I do have older siblings that were not in polygamy. I have some that were in polygamy, but I had the older siblings that I could kind of look up to. And so it was a healthier relationship all the way around. So,
So do you guys think that polygamy can actually work?
I haven't seen it.
I personally have never seen a family be successful at it, truly, without a lot of trauma. I think, and we all experience trauma. I don't care how we were raised, what religion we were raised, but there's a lot of trauma that happens to it. I personally have not seen. I've said this on our channel before. If I was to say that there was a family to model, it would have been the Browns at the very beginning. That's who I would have modeled a family after. And I'm not, and I don't just say that because we're talking to you guys. I mean, I knew your parents back then, and I genuinely felt that way. But I just don't, I see too much hurt, and I don't know that the promises of the blessings are worth the trauma that it causes to children. We say this on our channel all the time. Children are the collateral damage in this religion, because unfortunately too many children get hurt. And it's just not it, because the parents are just trying to figure it out. It's not that they go into this trying to be jerks or trying to be bad parents. They don't. I feel like most people enter this religion with the utmost of intentions, like they're doe-eyed and the promise of exaltation. They want this and then there's just then the hardships of it happen, and the unfairness of it happens, and the favoritism happens, and then the miscarriages happen, and now you've got and all of this like trauma that you already experience in normal life happens times 5, 6, 7 adults, however many adults you have.
9, 10,
9
10 adults.
10 in your situation. And then kids get forgotten,
Yeah.
and kids get pushed aside. And then kids, their needs are not met because the adults are just trying to keep their heads above water. And so
I'm just going off my personal connections with family that I know that have been in polygamy. It does not have longevity. Eventually they grow apart.
Yeah.
And so the majority of my siblings that have been in polygamy have been divorced. So probably multiple times. So
yeah.
So on that note, do you think it should keep its same legal status, get worse, or become legal?
yeah, I think personally, if they made it legal, then that would put responsibility on men to be responsible for all of the children and the wives. And if one left, it would be a mess. And I think, especially within the AUB, they like it that it's not legal, so that there's no legal connection to those wives. so that they can,
It's kind of sleazy.
You
yeah,
have more
'cause-
control if there's no legal connection. If a wife leaves and she can't seek ramifications, she can't seek money, she can't seek help.
There you go.
She's just screwed.
Yep.
So I think if you made it legal, that would give the men would probably still use the line that, oh, they're just doing that right now. We can't let the government know that we're legally married. And so they would still not legally become married, so that there wasn't a financial connection between
A
those
financial
lives.
obligation.
Obligation. There you go, for kids and
Yeah.
wives. So they would still try to keep it secret, I'm assuming, because
They don't want the
They don't
legal
want to be
liability of it.
held liable.
Well, and so when they decriminalized polygamy in Utah back in 2020, now the state of Utah has seen a 278% increase in parents, mothers, and children who are leaving the culture that need help. And so, because now that they don't have to fear about getting thrown in jail or getting prosecuted, now they're freer to get out, but they get out with the clothes on their back sometimes, and that's it. And so, I mean, my mom's got this lawsuit. She's been with my dad for 53 years, and he wants her just gone. And he has no interest in having her have a place to live, anything. So I had a disabled brother, and my dad guaranteed my mom could have a place to live as long as my disabled brother needed a place to live. Well, he passed away about 2.5 years ago, and now my dad wants my mom out. So what does she do after 50? She's not the legal wife. And so what does she do after 11 children in 52 years? Where does she go?
Probably has never had a job, so she doesn't have anything for a resume.
Yeah, well, my mom actually
it's
did
much
work
work.
full time. She's the one. So she had her health food stores. She did work full time her whole life. My mom typically worked 2 and 3 jobs. She always had a job, but yeah, everything she earned went to the family to help support the family. And so, yeah, it's really hard on her because now she's in her 70s, legally fighting for a place to live. So
That's
so hard.
yeah.
And this is your prophet, seer, and revelator. So the man who speaks to God, that's apparently God's kind of cruel.
Yeah.
So
I like the salt underneath.
I know, right?
So does this your dad? Hi, Dave. Did he just unseal himself from her and said, "All right, we're unsealed. You can go now"?
So she's never asked to be released from him or have a release given to her. She's never asked about that. But the Owen Allred, who was the prophet for the majority of my life, I'm sure he was still a prophet when you were younger.
He was still a prophet when I was younger.
Yeah. And so he used to teach that it was the love of the woman that would seal the marriage. If there was no love there, then there would be no marriage. And that love is what would unseal the marriage if need be. And so he used to teach that, and he was very adamant about it. And so my mom has never sought after a release because my dad wouldn't give her one anyways, because it's his job to give those. My dad, I remember when Mary got her release, I had no idea about Sister Wives fans because we just didn't watch the show. I had no idea the craziness of people out there. Like, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. But I got online and made a mention about that. Oh yeah, my dad gave Mary her release a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. And oh my gosh, that's when I think that was my first video that went viral. It's because people were like, Mary got a release. And so my dad would be the one that would do that. Yeah. And so he's not going to give that to my mom. Why would he?
So we're just having this absurd thinking where he wants her
Yeah.
gone, and you're still to this woman, and you're supposed to be together forever and have spiritual babies later in heaven. Like, what does he think? What's the thought process here?
God will work
What
it
is the
out.
end game?
That's what we said.
God will work it out in the afterlife. She will become more peaceful. She will be obedient, and she'll appreciate that he didn't give her that release, because if she got the release and didn't marry another worthy man, she would be cast out into outer darkness. So your dad's being gracious to her by not giving her that release. So
He's being very sarcastic here, but no, my mom
Yeah.
still,
We can
my
tell.
mom still,
Yeah.
she does believe. She still wears her garments. She still
Magic.
believes. Like, she's very, she's very devout. She always has been. But she just doesn't, she has issue with my dad being in that position. So when I left the AUB, the prophet before my dad, was Google eyeing my little 2-year-old on the carpet.
Lemoyne
And
Thompson,
But
him?
he wasn't the prophet at that time.
yeah, no, not, yeah.
He was just a good council member.
He was just a council member at the time, and he was Google eyeing my little girl. And I was just like, what? And I was watching him watch her, and I was watching her play, and she was like 2 years old. And I'm like, I can't do this to her. I'm not going to do this to her. And that's when I left the first time.
Okay.
And
That was the
so,
catalyst.
yeah, that was the first time that I left. And then, of course, had a sick baby, went back. And then the second time I left, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like, I was right the first
Full
time.
wake
Get
up.
out. Yeah. And so, yeah, it is hard. Like, I don't know if my dad thinks he has an end game. I don't know. We don't know what he thinks. So he uses my mom in numbers when it is convenient, but then in court says, no, we've never had a legal marriage.
Well, within the AUB, so I have some siblings and parents that are still part of it. They have no clue that she's even left.
My mom hasn't told anybody.
As
She's
far
just-
as he's concerned, what he's telling his community is he's got all these wives and they're in perfect harmony. And so, and then he's doing this on the side.
And that's the sad part is my mom left my dad almost 5 years ago, and nobody can tell the difference.
That is actually very sad.
It's tragic.
That was one of the things when my sister truly, like when my mom told her, hey, by the way, dad and I are divorced, my sister truly was like, I didn't know. What's the difference? What's going to change? She couldn't tell. I think that is one of the hardest parts about polygamy is that you can't tell, like you said earlier, Cory, what like a happy, stable marriage looks like. You don't know.
Well, and I've really appreciated your mom going through her experience because it has helped my mom so much. My mom will watch what your mom's been going through, and then she'll call me crying and we'll talk for hours, and she'll just be like, I saw Christine do this. And I keep telling my mom, I'm like, you have this example in Christine, but mom, if you do this, my mom has 7 girls. I'm like, if you do this, what are your girls going to see? What example are you setting for your daughters? And so I've really tried to instill that into her. Like if Christine is this wonderful example to you, and she gets angry, like it's funny to sit and watch Sister Wives with Cory's mom and my mom together. And because then I'll be like, we'll pause. It's a stupid hour episode, and it takes us like 3 freaking hours to get through this whole episode because it's pause, talk about everything, and then like, okay, start playing again, pause, talk about everything. So yeah.
Well,
Has your mom read my mom's book?
Yeah, we did a book club on your mom's book.
Yeah.
And so we picked it apart. I think it took us like maybe 8 weeks to go through the whole book. And so, yeah, my mom did read it. She cried a lot through a lot of it. So, and then she was on our book club every Tuesday. We'd never done an online book club before, but people asked us to do it. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I guess we'll make this up as we go. And so we bought the book, and we were heading to Montana to Pinesdale, and we started reading it on the way up there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, let's do a book club on this when we get home. So we did.
I have a mother that she stayed with my dad till he passed, but there were so many flaws within the religion that when he did pass, she left the religion. She's no longer part of the AUB. And so she's the one that kind of helps me navigate both sides of that, where I have 2 other mothers that's still alive and they're still devout in the religion. And so I'm super impressed. I'm impressed with my mom that left, because then we can communicate. We have a connection with that. So I'm proud of your mom for leaving and then being able to talk to you guys about it, because I still have these huge questions in my mind. Mom, this went on within our lifetime,
How
and
do
it
you
was
justify
wrong,
this?
right? It was wrong. And she's like, well, the Lord will decide that in the end, where my other mother's like, no, that was wrong. So, so I'm glad, I'm super impressed that she leave. You can have conversations with her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's impressive.
And I know what it's like to leave. When I left, I've like one of the oldest of 350 grandchildren, and no one had ever left before. I was the first one to get married in the AUB and the first one to leave. And I had nobody to do it. I had to figure it out. And it was terrifying. And so it takes people like your mom doing that and then writing a book for other people, because I mean, my mom's a diehard at 52, 53 years in the religion, and finally getting the courage to leave. So, but she's still very devout to the religion. She's just not devout to my dad. So, you know, so,
So
Sorry, I had a follow-up question before I got
uh-huh.
taken out to the side. And you don't have to answer this one because I know, sacred, special, all that stuff. But in Mormonism, and I'm sure it exists in AUB, there's this thing called the second anointing, or second anointment, where it's like your sealment and your guarantee that you make it into heaven given to you here on earth. Usually it's given to the prophet and the apostles, and sometimes other very special faithful members. And I've known about it in Mormonism, but in Mormonism there's only one wife that they get the second anointment with. In AUB you have multiple. So I was going to ask if you guys know, does he only receive that with the legal wife, with the first wife, or with all the wives? Or if you knew
All
anything
the
about
wives
that.
participate in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
Really?
can see, like we have this little, can you see the tip of my finger? There's a little bottle right there.
Yeah.
I actually got that at the Tomb of Christ in Israel. And that is for the second anointings. That is the jar that you would use. Yeah,
Right.
that's a jar. The jar, they only sell them at the Tomb of Christ. That's it. They make them very special for that, and for the process of the second anointing. But yeah, in polygamy, everyone does it. All the wives actively participate in that ceremony.
Oh, so your mom that you were talking about, that's suing your dad, she got second anointed.
Yeah.
So no matter what she does, she's got the pass. She's done. She's cleared. She
Yeah.
passed the test on earth according to the ideas.
Exactly. Those are the rules.
Yeah.
So
Right. But not a lot of
Wow.
people know that doctrine. And so that's a lot harder to talk about because people don't know the doctrine. I didn't know a lot about it until recently on our channel. We were talking about something and then I happened to just say something. And then my mom's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? And so then I went down that rabbit hole for a couple of weeks and had a lot of emotion around it. I was really surprised by it. But it explained so much to me about the devoutness of some of these women to these men. Because unless you understand that process, you don't always understand why some of these women are so devout.
yeah, they're guaranteed heaven if they live long and to the end. So if they make it to the end of their life faithful, they're guaranteed heaven. So
Yeah.
And for these women, it's already stamped. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could not do wrong enough now. Like.
Right. 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 And so her and I have had many discussions on that subject.
Unless you deny the Holy Ghost, then there's like a little battle. I don't know what happens there. That's a
Right.
theological battle.
Right.
did they teach the second anointing in the Mormon church too?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
not. It's not a. I would also call it not common knowledge. It's very like
Okay.
you definitely have to go searching and looking and
Yeah.
researching and go for what they would say deep doctrine is how they like to call it. In order to find references, journal histories, like when it happened to Joseph and church history literature and how you wash the feet and it's not easy to find, and so it's not very common and most people don't know about it, but it's like a very real thing, and it's very
Right.
symbolic of Christ and the women around him, and it's
Yes.
but it's like a real hush hush, like
Very
you
well. And
talked
that's one of
about
the
that.
reasons we're taught to keep our hair long and that we're not allowed to cut our hair is for the second anointings.
Hey,
And
that's
so
not why I like your long hair, by the way.
I don't know
That's
about
not
that
why.
anymore. Now I have questions.
yeah,
I don't know if I can.
no,
I'll just say my parents never got their second anointing.
your parents weren't worthy enough,
Weren't
son.
worthy enough. Yeah.
Dang,
My
they weren't
father
seen
was a heathen, so
They weren't.
he got excommunicated too. So I was right in good company.
Well, and I'm curious too because I have a lot of old books from the early Mormonisms. I have a couple of, I have every single I don't know if you guys have heard of the Truth magazines that the church used to publish at the very beginning of the church. But I have every single copy of the Truth magazines and it was a publication that came out at the very beginning of the church. So I've actually wanted to pull. I think we went through a period where we deconstructed this. And so we just didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like, we knew the background, we knew all this, but we didn't look into it or and then, we have friends who are so deep into it, or my family is so deep into it. Cory's family is so deep into it, but we haven't always looked at a lot of, at least I haven't, a lot of the deep doctrine. So
I tried to delete it all. I grew up with it. That was my study thing growing up. We had to do homework assignments based on the doctrine. So when I became an adult, I tried to delete that, and then somebody comes up and misquotes it. The PSR misquotes his own doctrine.
was it really my dad who did
It
that?
wasn't, but
It was my ex-husband who did it.
and they misquote it, and I'm like, well,
He's like,
I
Jesus said
shouldn't
something.
even know that, but it's
He's like,
still
Jesus
in there.
didn't say that. King Solomon said that. For hell's sakes, if you don't know what it is,
Yeah,
like,
don't even
do it.
if you don't know your own doctrine. So I thought I deleted all
King
that
David, not King
information.
Solomon.
I tried to delete all that information and study other stuff, but it's still, since I've been doing this since I was a little kid, it's still stuck in there. And a lot of these guys misquote their own religion.
Their own
So
scripture.
I just have to re-educate them every once in a while.
This is
No,
where you
that's-
two would probably get along, because it seems like you really study the doctrine and you study the behind the scenes of it. That's
yeah,
how
I thought
Cory
that was the fun stuff. Like, I actually didn't enjoy the Book of Mormon very much. I really enjoyed the Doctrine and Covenants, the Pearl of Great Price. Those were my jams, you would say.
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
are the ones that I felt like the ones I'd like to sink my teeth in the most. But the Book of Mormon, that was a lot of good stories and good lessons. But that stuff, like, I thought that was the fun stuff. The
right.
revelations, and there's this like similarity in Mormonism with like mysticism and magic, and like a lot of these interesting ideas that Joseph was like his surrounding area, his environment really affected him. Yeah, and it's very cool to see that. Oh, by the way, there was a lot of gold diggers around Joseph when he was
Mhm.
growing up. Oh, weird. He looked for gold plates. Interesting. There was a lot of like magicians and seers. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Joseph grew up and did that. That's kind of funny. And there was a lot of those interesting ideas that, oh, but Joseph, he became a Mason. Oh, interesting. Now there's similar symbols in the church. And it's just kind of fun. I whether it's true or not, I just think it was fun. So I
Yeah.
like that stuff.
Our oldest is that way too. He really studies, like, he's read the Bible a few times. He's read the Book of Mormon a few times, because if he's going to talk about it, he wants to know what he's talking about. And so, but he's very into the mystical stuff. He's very into all of that. And he likes to see the theology in both, talk
Yeah,
about
well,
that.
that's where I confused my dad, because he had me doing scriptures. He had me, but I also got The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And so I was comparing the two, and he was lost on it. He was never a nerd. So my brothers and I, my family, we can all joke about the different. I felt like The Hobbit was a little bit better written than the Book of Mormon. The Lord of the Rings. More story plot to it. So, yeah. And so I would make fun of the mystics. I thought that The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings were better than the original. And yeah, he didn't. My mother,
He gets
they
called.
didn't approve of.
He gets
my
called very
comedy.
sacrilegious for that. My ex-husband is like, I blame Cory for the way my kids don't believe in Jesus anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about that your kids don't believe? He's like, I blame Cory because he's made my kids read all those stupid books, and they're not studying the Book of Mormon. They're reading The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and all
a
of their
better
other
story.
books that they read.
Story.
They get very
It's a
much into
better
all of these.
story.
Yeah, our son
Same
just got.
magic.
Her son just got married, and for his wedding gift to his wife, he built her a library. And for her bridal shower, we all brought her books. And so she's very much into all of these types of books. And so she got some really good collections, but that was what he built her for their wedding, or because they built a home together. And now she's got a beautiful library full of books that is really cute.
They get frustrated because I compare their priesthood or their magic. I think Harry Potter's is better. And so, yeah, and my devout family doesn't think it's that funny. The rest of us think it's hilarious. So it's great.
Monty
Hilarious. I
Python.
think
Monty
the, you know,
Python was
Monty Python.
yeah.
One of my favorites growing up.
Yeah. Monty Python was written better than the Book of Mormon.
Well,
Is what you're saying.
I had
it's a little bit more
older,
inappropriate than the Book of Mormon
Yeah.
too. So that was kind of nice.
I had older siblings that educated me, I guess, on
Yeah.
better stuff. So
Yeah.
It's funny because you also grew up on Lord of the Rings,
Monty
like
Python and the Holy
religiously.
Grail,
Mhm.
full on Harry Potter family, Lord of the Rings,
Yep.
The Hobbit. But we watched the original Hobbit. There was the cartoon version, not the new one.
Yep.
The good stuff.
Yep. We
Yeah.
have that one on VHS, in fact. Oh, yeah. It's funny because both of our moms ended up here on Thanksgiving. It wasn't planned. It just they both ended up over here, and we watched the Harry Potter Bake Off Challenge thing. And it's funny because now that my mom is leaving my dad, this is one of the reasons that he claims that she has fallen away is because she allowed Harry Potter into her home. And the AUB is very
Interesting.
against Harry Potter.
Very against Harry Potter.
Any of
What?
this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no,
very
hard no.
much so.
What's wrong with Harry Potter?
But nowadays they're against it. But like when my mom was growing up, she could have stuff around that was like Lord of the Rings, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. They were fine. There were a couple other like magic, mystical. The Last Unicorn was allowed when she was
Yep.
younger, and nowadays
Last-
they're not allowed. Like
Why?
Harry Potter is hardcore because they're magicians. They're like fake magic.
They're
They're
fake magic.
Abracadabra.
Fake
Yeah.
priesthood.
Yep.
fake
So-
creatures.
So I thought it was funny. I did a little thing on our Instagram because I was like, this is weird because you have these two matriarchs that have been in this religion their entire life going against the core teaching of AUB about no Harry Potter, and they're loving every minute. And I'm the only one that's not I don't mind Harry Potter. I just don't know. Like, I could tell you who Harry Potter was, and that's about it. But so you've got these three nerds over here that are just eating up this baking show, and it's the cutest thing. And yet here, my little brother who was Down syndrome, who just passed, was extremely a Harry Potter addict. And he had
Fan.
white owl. He had a white owl that he had on his shoulder. Like everything was Harry Potter. And my dad was furious with my mom because she did not, he was like, you do not allow those to be played in our home. And of course, my mom allowed it anyways. And so,
Dang, that's
Yeah.
funny. Wait, so Cory, side question: as the Harry Potter fan, have you read the basically the fan story of Hermione and Draco called Alchemist? It's really big right now. It's in Barnes and Noble. It's huge.
that's the one. That's one all of our kids are reading right now.
Okay. No, I have not read it yet.
Oh,
So I do need to start reading more. Right now I'm reading a lot of historical stuff because I'm a nerd historically too. So, but no, I haven't read a fantasy book probably for about
Gosh.
6
I was
years.
gonna say it's been a
whoa!
minute.
This could be your comeback if you want.
Yeah, it could be. So I loved reading. That was my TV growing up. So
And our
I would
kids are
sit and
huge
read
into
them.
it. They're into all of these types of book series. And so,
So
Now I have to
she.
use these. So
yeah, because now we're old.
I'm old, so I have to use readers.
So
Yeah.
I know we're up on our time, but if we could leave you off, we'll make this our final question. After all this tumultuous life you've been through with this religion, ultimately, what do you think is going to happen when you die?
I think we just evolve into a different state. Honestly, I feel like we are always evolving, whether we're in this physical form or we're in a different form. I feel like we're just constantly in a state of evolution. We're intelligent beings that are constantly learning and constantly evolving. So we might not look like this, but our intelligence is still there and your energy is still there. I get commented a lot on our channel because I'm really huge into vibrations and frequencies and stuff like that in your body and how that heals you. And so, yeah, that's what I believe. I believe that we are intelligences. And yeah, I don't know that I have to be a part of any major religion to carry on as an intelligent being.
That's very Pearly P. Pratt theology right there.
Yeah. That mine's very poor theology. Is that what you said?
No.
Harley P. Pratt.
Yeah.
Oh, Parley P. Pratt. Yeah. That's no. We're
He's-
just deaf.
You know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm deaf. I'm sorry. I'm still trying. I'm trying
No,
to
you're
read.
fine.
I'm trying to read as fast as you guys are talking.
It's okay. Cory?
No, I believe this is just a learning experience. We're probably somewhere else before this. So there are some of my belief systems from being a kid, probably and that we pass on too. And we're going to continue learning and becoming better people. But we don't need all of the
Someone else to tell
physical
us how to do
stories
it.
to, yeah. I think a lot of the stories that we were taught as kids were to help us to grow up and to think in a certain way. So yeah, I think there's something beyond here. If there's not, and do I believe that the AUB is right and that I'm going to be damned to hell? I don't. I have my own personal connection with God or with the universe. I believe I have this personal connection to become a better person, a best version of myself. And I don't need the PSR to tell me how to do it. He's not doing a very good job himself. So.
And Corey's
I
going to
like
find a
it.
way to come back and haunt my ass. I just know it. I just know it.
And if the AUB's right, I've got all their codes and passwords I can sneak in.
And
So,
hotels.
You're
yeah.
safe.
We have hotels.
Perfect. Keep your robes on hand. Well, big thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Huge for you guys to come on. Want to thank our patrons for making this happen. And for a lot of these questions came from lots of you guys. So we appreciate that.
Thank you guys again. And as you were talking about like your current belief system, I was like, whoa, I was trying to explain to Tony the other day that I believe in reincarnation, like who you are on earth is how you get to go in your next life or your next existence itself. It's just it all comes down to just be a good person at the end of the day. And if there is a one religion, well, if you're a good person, they probably should just accept you and move on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well
I
put.
agree.
Thank you guys
I-
for sharing your opinion and your life, and we appreciate this.
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
tell your mom hi. I knew them growing up. She was awesome. Had a great sense of humor. So I enjoyed your mom's whole family. So, and
Noted, I will.
And we're coming out there in March to
Oh,
visit
that's
our
fun.
daughter. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
oh yeah.
yeah, we're coming out there in March to come and visit her on her land out
Yeah,
there. So
her
maybe
house will
we'll have
be-
to say hi to you guys while we're out there.
Her house should be finished in January, I think.
Oh, that's
January or
exciting.
February. So I've been, yeah. So they're pretty excited. They've been working on the land and while the house is being built. So
That's so exciting for them. Congrats to them.
Yep.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
building a grandparents thing in the basement. So we'll be in the basement.
they want us to move out there.
Hey, it's pretty
No.
nice out here. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
That's funny.
we
That's
have
what
no
Maddie
snow
and
right
Janelle are
now.
doing. They're trying to like make it all warm and inviting. Hey, you guys, just come move over here. Everybody can come. There's enough land. There's enough space. We'll get you guys a house. That's funny. North Carolina is the
Yeah.
new it, guys.
That's what I said. I'm like,
It-
why is everybody moving out to North Carolina? Our girl has been out there for over a year now, I think. And then I found out all you guys were, I'm like, what is happening?
Just
For
from a
anybody
real
watching
estate
this, it sucks.
point of
Guys,
view.
don't come. North Carolina is awful. We're
Yeah.
terrible state. Don't come.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah. Just prices wise.
Oh, I
mean,
know.
I thought that, well, I never did. I didn't want to move back up to Pinesdale or Montana, but I was like, oh, Idaho or somewhere there. The prices are insane all up and down this area. So
Yeah.
I can see price wise helping them get into that land, and my brother's buying one out there too.
My little sister moved out there. His brother moved out there.
It's reasonably priced property
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
All right.
Well, thanks again, guys.
Yep.
Well, I'm
Thank
sure
you,
we'll do
guys.
this again. We'll talk some more. Maybe we'll have a doctrine only conversation one day or something. but
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
sure we'll do
study
it
up on
again.
some of my doctorate if I want to keep up with that
Well,
conversation.
you were giving up. You know who Parley P.
There
Pratt was.
there we go. That's about it.
yeah.
That's funny.
You're lucky you don't have that doctor stuck in your head. I've been trying to get a lot of lot of the old stuff out, and it's still stuck in my head. So
Yeah.
See,
Well,
we'll be
hopefully that was
fine.
good for you guys. How did you guys feel about that?
Oh, it was
I loved
great.
it. This is
It's
great.
great.
This is a lot of
Okay.
fun.
We're always winging it. We never know what we're going to do, or, I mean, we had questions written down, but we are always just like shooting at the hip. I feel like we try to
Just
just
like
be
to
as
have a
genuine
conversation,
as we
you figure it
can.
out back
You
and
what?
forth. You just have a conversation, you figure it out back and forth. So this was
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Right.
We had some, mild question bullet points over here.
I think we asked